Preparing live stream webinar. Setting up. And we are live. Dude, we're live. I've got, let me see here if this is working. Whoop. I need to, okay, so we're live, man. We are live. We are on here. I'm going to tag Grant Cardone on here. Let's get, let's see if we can get Grant in here, man, because your story, dude, is unbelievable. It is absolutely unbelievable. I'm also going to have my phone open so I can see the comments. Hey, Laura, how are you? So I've got, you guys, hey, listen, anybody that could share this out really genuinely would appreciate it. Listen, anybody that can share it. Yeah, you got to turn that down. It's all right, dude.
Good.
It's all right. So I have, I see Michael Fafrak in here, Laura. Listen, I have a true, like seriously, a true warrior, a true champion, Alex Hill on here. Alex and I talked today. I sent him a message and asked him if I could use something. And he said, dude, can we talk? I got to share some things with you. So he started sharing with me some of the things that have happened for him since he attended the Grant Cardone's 10X GrowthCon, the conference back in February. And I was talking when I was there, I was talking with a group of people. Alex came up, he started asking me some questions, wanted some input and advice. And so him and I went off and had a little sidebar. What did we talk, 20, 30 minutes that night?
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah. So we talked for a while, and Alex had a business idea. It was just, you hadn't really started it, right?
Not at all. Just a thought.
Dude, that is freaking insane. So that's what, hey, Mike Chavez, how you doing, bro? So wait till you guys hear this dude's story. So, you know, first, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, where you're from originally, and just a little brief summary of your history, if you would, Alex.
All right. Well, thank you for that introduction earlier, Ken. I appreciate that. But no, my name is Alex Hill. I grew up here in Northwest Florida. That's where I currently reside, right here in Gulf Breeze, coast of Pensacola. You guys are familiar with that. At 18, I joined the Army. Of course, my parents told me to not do it, so that's what I did. I went infantry and went to airborne school, and then ended up in North Carolina. I spent a little over 4.5 years active duty with the 82nd Airborne Division. I did one tour in Afghanistan with them. And then it was on that first tour in Afghanistan that I did. I picked up the book many of you are very aware of, is Think and Grow Rich. And at the time, we didn't have much electricity or running water over there, very rarely. So there's nothing to do but read. And that was the first book I picked up, and it just kind of the light bulb for me. And I knew immediately that I definitely wanted to do business. That's what I wanted to do with my life. So, flash forward, got back from that deployment. And a year and a half later, I left the service, or I left active duty. And I immediately started going to school to pursue a business degree. I majored in marketing. I finished my AA, and I just couldn't wait. I was trying to work odd jobs, and they just weren't really working out, for me.
That was after the military?
That was after the military. I started, I think my first job, I was actually hanging out the side of high-rises, pressure washing high-rises on the beach.
Wow.
And just, bounced around between odd jobs. I was an HR assistant for a while there. I couldn't take the office thing.
Yeah. So talk about, because you briefly went over that, and I kind of want to, first off, I never was in the military. Probably one of the biggest regrets I have is I always wanted to be in the military, and man, I don't know. I don't know if it was I didn't have the guts, or I don't know what it was, but thank you from the bottom of my heart, thank you for your service, dude. I absolutely love and support anybody that's been in the military. It's unbelievable. So thank you for fighting for our country and our freedoms that we have here.
I mean, we truly appreciate that. I mean, absolutely. I mean, that's why we do it. So I can't think.
Tiffany Felton Oybai that you see there, she was in the military as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
So okay, you went over pretty quick. Hey, Dan Keller. So you went over pretty quick about you did a tour in Afghanistan. How was that, man?
It was really austere conditions for us. We actually, our deployment got cut short to about 8 or 9 months there. Lots of contact daily as far as, with enemies. Lots of IEDs, lots of explosions going on. Very limited running water, actually no running water, to be honest, ever.
Wow.
Very limited power, electricity, anything like that. It was definitely an experience. Absolutely.
So you went over there. You were in the you were in combat.
I'm sorry.
You were in combat.
Absolutely, every day. Just
hey, Brad French. So you were in combat, and I mean, we talked a little bit about it, and I'm not gonna air everything. We talked about it all, dude, but that wasn't easy coming back and being integrated back into a civilian society, right?
It wasn't at all. It wasn't at all. I had a lot of support, a lot of good mentors in the military. I was really good at my job, and as soon as I left the service, I was lost in the sauce, for lack of a better term. I had no direction. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do. Yeah. So you worked a bunch of odd jobs. You came out of the military, and I think, and I've heard Grant talk about this. I've seen a lot of other people talk about it. I've heard you talk about it, that you come out of the military and you literally, for a lack of better words, you can't find your ass with both hands and a flashlight. So you don't know what to do, right? You've been living this structured lifestyle, and everybody's telling you this is what you do. Go do this, do this, do this, and you come out and you're like, well, crap. Nobody's telling me what to do. So, and thank you, by the way, Sandy McNichol and Danielle Rowe. I've shared the video. Thank you to everybody who shared this. Share this out, because this is an unbelievable story. I told him, we put together a media calendar today, and I'm going to start doing interviews. And I actually wasn't going to start until next Tuesday, I think was the first one we were going to do. And I talked to Alex today, and he told me his story, and I said, oh, dear God, man, we have got to we got to talk. We got to get this story out, dude. It's so inspirational. Thank you, Leslie Dixon. Thank you. You rock. So, it's so inspiring, man. It's unbelievable what happened for you. And like, when I met you, you were asking stories. I know I don't even remember which day it was of the 10X GrowthCon, but was it the very last day?
Was it the last day?
Very last day. I think after everybody had left.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there with a bunch of people, and you walked up, and I think you asked me a story or something. Thank you for sharing, Brad French. You asked me something, and all I could see was there was still a big question mark you had, had on how to implement a lot of the things you had just learned, and you wanted to share your business idea with me and get some feedback, and we went and talked about it, and that was, dude, that was just a few months ago, man. That was in February.
March actually.
March. So like, dude, you were like, it was just an idea that you had, right? And so Alex, have you ever paid me a dime?
Not one.
Not a single penny. I connected with this dude. Hey, Jack Branch, how you doing, bro? I connected with him. I saw at the 10X Growth Conference he had questions. He literally reached out. Dude, I could feel it in your energy and see it in your eyes when I was sitting there. And I'm like, I got to help this kid. And so we went and sat down in a little private area and talked for, I don't know, a while. And we exchanged numbers. We've talked several times since then. But this dude, like, he took his business idea, and thank you for everybody. Lori Herb just shared this too. Thank you guys for share this out, because this is an inspiring story. So Alex took his business idea, took some of my advice, took all the stuff he learned at the 10X Growth Conference, and a lot of hope, and went and freaking and he was lost. I mean, you told me that you've had a lot of friends commit suicide that were over there in the trenches with you that saw a lot of action, and you told me some serious. Thank you, Joe Jackson, for sharing, brother. You told me some really heart-wrenching stories of good friends of yours that couldn't take the PTSD, couldn't, and they, took another way out, and which is sad. It breaks my heart, man. And so you have felt some of that same stuff.
I have, and that's what really scared me, and in a way motivated me to be proactive. To not go down that path that they went down, because I was experiencing and sharing a number of symptoms that they battled with and struggled with prior to them taking that choice to take their life.
Yeah.
I want to avoid that. My brother-in-law actually, and whenever I was actually in basic training, he actually completed suicide. So very early on, I had a really bad taste in my mouth, of that kind of experience. I didn't want to be another, one of those numbers.
Wow, dude, that's heart-wrenching. So you went out, you took a lot of proactive steps. I mean, you got Think and Grow Rich, and then somewhere along the way, after getting out of the military and not knowing what the hell to do, and getting a bunch of odd jobs that didn't didn't work for you. You didn't want to power wash skyrise buildings. That would have taken me about 5 minutes to figure out. Like, no, I ain't doing this. No way. But hey, good for you for trying. But so at some point you said what happened?
I mean, I was tired of living other people's dreams. I wanted to live my own, and I wanted to create opportunities, to help others, help other veterans. I wanted to prove that it was possible, because I feel like as soon as I left the service, myself, along with numerous other veterans, that I communicate with, they were just lost. They didn't know what to do. They didn't believe in themselves, and for a while, I didn't believe in myself either. And that's what took me down that really dark path. I just didn't think it was possible. One day I decided, I'm going to make it possible, whether it is or not, which it is possible, but, I made that choice to go and fight for it.
Yeah. And along the way, I mean, I posted a picture of you a little bit ago with General
Dunford.
So he's not working in a mess hall somewhere, right?
He's not. He's the head of the Pentagon. He's the highest ranking military official currently. Yeah, he's currently the highest ranked military official. He's the military advisor to the president.
Yeah, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, right?
Yes, sir.
So he's a buddy of yours.
He is. I met Joe actually through. I try to do some nonprofit work, and actually one of the organizations I work with, TAPS, is a Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors. Yeah. I'm actually a mentor children that lost their families or their parents in the military. Wow. So through working with them and volunteering with them, I've had a really wonderful opportunity to meet some amazing people, both inside the military and outside of it. And fortunately, some of those meetings have landed me, in the White House or the Pentagon and making connections there. So.
Oh, you've been to the White House.
I have. Last year, 2 years ago, I had the pleasure of meeting the current chief of staff of the White House, Dennis McDonough, who it was actually on Memorial Day itself. He came in and gave us a private tour of the White House. So we got to go in the Oval Office.
Wow.
See some things people don't get to see.
Can I get your autograph? Like, that's freaking awesome.
I'll tell you. No, I'll say we did hide something in the diplomatic library. So if anybody ever goes there, look for those books. One of them has something from us.
That's funny. So you, and by the way, Richard, thank you. I think I saw that you shared this. Thank you to everybody who shared this out.
Yeah,
this is been such, I mean, we haven't even gotten to the cool part yet. Like that's not, that I'm just kind of setting the table here because, dude, what you've done since the 10X Growth Conference and what you told me to do, I'm gonna let you tell it in a minute, but so you're friends with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dunford. Joe, you call him Joe. I would probably call him General, right? But so you're friends with him. You've had some amazing experiences because I saw in your heart, dude. Like that you called me when I was still out in Las Vegas. You called me and you were talking to me, and I said, "Well, where are you?" You said, I'm in Washington, D.C. for Memorial Day. I'm going to hang out with General Dunford and, like, I don't know, Trump or somebody. And no, but
haven't met the president yet.
I'm not the president yet. But you were going to hang out with these guys and like, dude, I was like, what? And you're like, yeah. And you told me that you help these kids. You're a what do you call it? You're a mentor?
Yep. I'm a mentor at what they call the Good Grief Camp. So it's all children that have lost a family member in the military.
Wow, dude. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. So you've got such an incredible heart, man. You're such a good person. And when I like I said, when I saw it, I just saw it, man. I saw that you needed just a little push and a little guidance and dude, I told you earlier on the phone, I said, dude, I am so proud of you because you are amazing, man. You are truly amazing. So literally it chokes me up a little bit. So like, okay, so let's talk about somewhere along the way, you heard of some dude named Grant Cardone, right?
I did.
What? How did that come about?
I started seeing those ads on Facebook. I came across one, and I noticed the list of speakers on there, and I had to be there. So I was willing to do, before I knew it was this thing, but whatever it takes to get there. And I quickly found out that that was something that Grant does. He knows whatever it takes.
Yeah, he does.
I was trying to figure out how to get there, and I definitely didn't have the funds at the time, to get a ticket. So I was trying to do anything, to get any attention to, see what I could do to get there. And fortunately, I actually had the coincidence of running into an old high school friend that I hadn't seen in probably about 8 years prior to this. I ran into him, and he was had some significant amount of money, and I convinced him to come with me, and part of that was him, buying my ticket. Actually, I told him, I said, if I don't pay you back by the next GrowthCon, then I don't deserve to be there. That was the deal I made him. So he gave me 12 months to pay it back. So. Wow, dude. Good for you, man. Look at you go, man. That's the heart of a freaking champion, dude. So you were doing whatever it takes before you knew whatever it takes was. Right. Wow, dude, that's incredible. So, and by the way, there's people still jumping on, people still sharing. Thank you to everybody who shared this. Thank you. You guys are, amazing. Thank you. So you have, so you went to the 10X Growth Conference. Let's talk about what happened. So let's talk about your idea or your thought before.
You throw it out there, man. Just throw it out there.
So
There's no way anybody could copy what you got, dude. No way.
So in my attempts of gaining the attention of Grant Cardone, or anybody that was giving out tickets at the time, I actually went down to the Florida Keys to Key Largo with TAPS, that program that I was with. And I had the opportunity while I was down there to go skydiving with the Golden Knights, the United States Army Golden Knights. And it's kind of a spur of the moment thing, but right before I left the hotel that morning, it was about maybe 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Right before I left the hotel, I had been reading the 10X rule, sitting right there on my nightstand, and I don't know what possessed me, but I just grabbed it and I was like, I'm gonna go jump out of an airplane with this. I was like, this is how committed I am, man. Like, I'm gonna go jump out of the airplane with this, because the 10X rule to me spoke a lot, because for me, my relation to it, or the way I relate it to myself, is like in the military. We go to the range. We train 10 times harder than any other military in the world. That's why we're the best. I'm like, all right, so if I can train 10 times harder and be part of the best army and the best military in the world, right. If I 10 times harder anything else, then I'm gonna be the best at that too, right? It just makes sense.
Yeah.
So to me, I was like, what better way to show that than jump 10,000 feet with with this book that that said so much to me. So that's actually what happened. After jumping with them, we actually went down to do some photographs at the southernmost point down there in Key West, famous landmark. Yeah. And I noticed an individual out there selling coconuts out of a van. Really, really strange. It was one of those like vans that says like free candy on the side. There's a guy out there with a drill and just drilling these coconuts. And I sat there, waiting in line to take a picture, and maybe 50 people in 30 minutes, bought one, and it just didn't make sense to me. So I went over and spoke with the gentleman shortly afterwards, and between our broken conversation, he was just putting a straw in these coconuts, and selling them to people. And I grew up, spent most of my time outside of the military in Northwest Florida, and I never knew that we even grew coconuts in Florida. To be honest. But then that question came up, is, they're obviously extremely popular down there. Everybody's walking around with one, they're sitting everywhere. And, so I just asked myself, why don't we do this up in Northwest Florida? Just made too much sense. Like, why not? It's obviously, an awesome thing down here. So actually the day before GrowthCon, I went down there a day early, and I went down there, actually slept in the car that night, showered at a truck stop, and I went and I formed a partnership with a local coconut farmer down there, and try to bring the idea up here in Northwest Florida. And I told him, I said, I'm going to be your biggest customer. I'm going to, make this huge, all across Northwest Florida. And, okay. And actually, I don't know if I ever shared this part with you, but at the time I had recently partnered earlier in February. I had recently partnered with a local business, and I opened up to partner at both of his permanent locations. And so I brought the idea to him. I think this would be amazing, and he agreed. And we tried to implement it, and it didn't do well at all. Actually, it actually failed miserably. You
did tell me that. You did tell me that. Yeah.
Yeah, I lost a lot of money. All financial factors aside, I realized very quickly that the business relationship was toxic. My ideology, I'm over here, I want to 10X everything, and they're very conservative, and just didn't agree with me. So, I knew I was going to do better on my own. So, I just had a gut feeling that was the place for me to be. So, without any plan whatsoever, I didn't know how I was going to pay my mortgage, but I did leave him. I pulled out of that partnership, and I just woke up one day and I said, I'm going to go get, a huge contract to sell these somewhere. And I went that day and I put a coconut in a lunchbox, my old lunchbox for work, with some ice from my freezer. And I went down and went to a large attraction, a local place, about 30 minutes away. And, I pitched it straight to the general manager there. And the very first thing he said to me was no. I said, hey, I want to sell some coconuts here. I'd like to be a vendor. What do I have to do? He said, absolutely not. We're completely full. That's the first thing he said to me. And I was like,
I said no.
I didn't even hesitate, to be honest. And I had nothing planned. I had no pitch, nothing. Right. I didn't practice in the car. Without hesitating, I just said, before you say no one more time, try this. And I opened one up right there in his office, and he took a sip and he looked at me. He said, "Sit down, let's talk."
He said what?
He said, "Sit down, let's talk." So I convinced him to at least talk to me. So I knew I had my foot in the door at least.
Oh, that's freaking awesome, dude. That is so cool. Love that. So since then though, like, I mean, you've sold what, 2 or 3 of them now, right?
A little over 8,000 so far in the past 3 months.
Dude, that's insane. Coconuts. You're selling coconuts. That's awesome, dude. And I know everybody's calling you on here the coconut man. So, dude, like, okay, it all started with like you jump out of an airplane with the 10x rule. You get attention. You get to the 10x GrowthCon. You go and dude. Would you say you've taken massive action?
Without hesitation, absolutely.
Selling coconuts.
So, I figured if I could sell coconuts, I could sell anything.
I mean, seriously, dude. I mean, it's completely up to you if you want to tell everybody you told me if you want to tell people the kinds of numbers you're pulling in, it's freaking ridiculous, dude. It's absolutely selling coconuts. I mean, dude, it's crazy. It's crazy.
All right. So, after convincing him, he asked me how many. I think the general manager at this location asked me how many you think you could sell a month, and I said, conservatively, I'll sell 1,000 a month here, but I'm gonna sell 2,000. And he looked me in the eye and he said, "You really think you can sell 1,000 coconuts?" And I said, "No, I'll sell 2,000." Within our first 6 days, we sold about 700.
Dude, that's crazy, man. So, and I remember you called me and you said, "Dude, I don't have a sales problem. I have a getting enough inventory problem."
That quickly became the problem. Absolutely. Sadly, being a marketing major, sadly, I didn't even have a Facebook until like the 3rd month, because we started. I signed the contract on a Wednesday, and we started Thursday, open 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Tammy Acosta said, "Was he in a Speedo?"
Was not in a Speedo.
That is pretty awesome.
Speedo, for the record.
Huh?
I've never worn a Speedo. But if I'd sell more, you have to give me one.
Yeah, you might sell a few more. Of course, a lot of the men that buy them might not come up to you. But anyway, so dude, like, that is, oh, she said, get it? The coconuts. Got it. Okay. Jeez. Oh, it's funny. So you took just an idea, something you were out like just doing your thing, man, skydiving, which, by the way, makes no sense to me. I would never jump out of a perfectly good airplane, but that's just me. But like, you went out, you were skydiving, I truly believe that when you have the heart of a freaking tiger, lion, like what you have, man, and you have just a passion to become successful and provide something valuable. I mean, that coconut water, like, probably is pretty good.
It is extremely healthy. Absolutely.
Why is it healthy?
Why is it healthy? It just has a ton of health benefits. It has tons of electrolyte, potassium, all the good stuff for you. And actually, a couple real quick cool facts. Coconut water is actually sterile. Another reason it attracted me is there's a little bit of military history behind them. They were actually used as IVs in World War II and in Vietnam.
As what?
they were used as IVs whenever they couldn't get enough IVs over our American soldiers over there in World War II in Vietnam. They actually sent them coconut from the islands, and that's
really.
It was. I actually had the pleasure to meet a gentleman during an event 4th of July here in actually Pensacola. I was speaking with a gentleman, and he actually had a coconut IV in Vietnam.
Wow! No kidding.
It is. It has the same pH level as blood, so that's why they're able to just introduce that intravenously.
Wow! No kidding. I think I need to try one of these coconuts, dude.
I'll get one into the mail. I'll get one in the mail for you.
It'll be ruined by the time it gets here, wouldn't it? So
you can overnight it.
So, and I don't want to discuss what we talked about earlier, some of your plans and stuff, because that's not necessary. But I am going to say that this dude right here, like, dude, are you making any money?
So I started out by myself. Within the first month, we actually got up to had 9 part-time employees, 2 shifts a day, and 2 of those actually being active duty Air Force members. So very cool that I was able to provide, an extra form of income for them. They had a ball doing it. They were excellent at it.
Wow. So you're creating an economy of your own.
Absolutely. So in the past 3 months, so since Memorial Day, started June, we roughly right now we're at about sitting right over $70,000 in sales, with a 45% net on that.
Wow, man, that is crazy. That's just crazy.
We're not. I don't plan to 10x that year, but I'm gonna try to 100x it next year. So we're projecting about $3 million for next year.
Yeah, and those are real projections, and they're not just, it's not a bunch of made up bullshit that you're making up. I mean, he's I know. I mean, I've talked to you many times about this, right? And so I know your plans, and it's crazy, like selling coconuts, man. Coconuts.
Went from my garage to now we have a 3,000 square foot warehouse. That's where I'm at right now in the new office here.
Wow.
So, and huge plans for next year. Introducing a lot of fun stuff to go along with it. So we're going to expand what we're offering as well. So.
Dude, I mean, and you accomplished all this in the short time period of what, 5 or 10 years, right?
Yeah. Altogether since, well, I'm 25, so I joined the military when I was 18. So
you're 25. So I'm kidding about that. Like, you did it, and I can't even do the math. It's such, you've done this in 6 months, 5 or 6 months, dude. Come on, man. And so you said something to me about the 10X Growth Conference, and I'm going to go back after this and drop a link for people to be able to go purchase their tickets to next year's 10X Growth Conference, because it's going to be freaking huge.
I highly recommend it for anybody out there watching. If you haven't been, if you've been, you already know. Yeah.
So what did you tell me though earlier? You told me earlier. Just tell everybody what you attribute your success in all this to, man.
So, coming out, bouncing around through all those odd jobs, I struggled a lot with a lot of those common PTSD symptoms. I had I didn't have any direction. I didn't know what to do, where to go. And my biggest problem was I couldn't overcome that mindset. I didn't realize what that mindset was. And going to GrowthCon, watching these speakers, talk, it just clicked for me. And immediately I knew, like, that's what I had to do. And I mean, the first thing I did was change my mindset, and everything else kind of has just, fallen in after that. I had the drive, the motivation, I had the passion, but I didn't have the right mindset to execute on that. And I wasn't executing. I was waiting for it to happen. And if you wait, it's just never going to happen. It's never going to come to you. You got to go get it. So after GrowthCon, it just opened my eyes, and, it gave me that direction, gave me that mindset that I needed to go out there and attack and execute. Dude,
That's crazy. That's just crazy to me because when I talked to you, we were sitting on that, and I remember where we were sitting. That you were on the couch, I think, and I was sitting in that chair. And I was like, I mean, dude, and you were broke.
I was in a very dark place. I was really struggling back then. Absolutely.
I'm not laughing at you. And by the way, hey, Scott Colonna, Dr. Scott Colonna is in the house. He's a rock star. Ballinger, Joe Jackson, John Harrington. There's some really, really Max Cho, some unbelievable people in here. Karen Berry. I thank you guys too for sharing this out because Alex Hill is an amazing young man that is Sandy McNichol. Like he's an amazing young man that has went out and fought for our country. You were in Airborne, right?
I was.
Andy Audade, how you doing, brother? How you doing? So we got you. Like you went at a young age, joined the Army. You were in the Airborne. You went to you went to Afghanistan, experienced probably some crap that nobody would ever want to have to experience. You come back to the United States. You leave. You get out of the military, and you're lost. You don't know what to do. And I know that Grant Cardone, I don't know if he's watching this or if he has seen it or will see it, but I know that he has a big push to help the U.S. military veterans.
He does.
And you told me that you're talking with General
Dunford.
Sorry, I don't know why I can't remember his name. I'm just gonna call him Joe. But you're no, I'm kidding. I can't, dude. I can't. But so you're talking to General Dunford about integrating Cardone University into the U.S. military, so all of the guys and gals coming out of the military have something to turn to for guidance.
Yeah, absolutely. So Grant, he does offer a wonderful resource, Cardone University for veterans. There's a free resource for any veteran. So any of you guys watching, if you have any veteran friends, definitely share it with them. It is a link. I believe it's Grant Cardone University or CardoneUniversity.com/veteran. So it's a wonderful program. However, it's not the full university, not the full program.
Right.
And it just did so much for me. And honestly, I go as far as, to say it saved my life.
Wow, it saved your life.
I truly do believe that, I wouldn't be where I'm at or, possibly even here, if it wasn't for, my journey as an entrepreneur, and bringing me to things like GrowthCon, and learning from, those incredible teachers and those mentors out there.
Yeah.
Absolutely made all the difference in the world. I spent years in and out of the VA, on different kind of medications. I had a short struggle with drugs and alcohol, very briefly, and nothing was helping. Nothing did it for me. I wanted help. I knew I needed help. I wanted it, and I couldn't find it anywhere. Until I started watching people, like Grant Cardone and Les Brown, and listening to these motivational speakers, and
wow, dude,
it really hit home for me, man, and it made all the difference.
Wow.
So
I've talked to a lot of people about Cardone University and what it did for me and what it's done for me. And I can honestly say I'm not so sure that I can say it saved my life, but it definitely helped me a lot. But to hear somebody say, I truly believe it saved my life, man, it's just freaking unreal. It's unbelievable.
I really do believe that. And we all know the number, right now, 22, it's not even accurate, but, that number's out there. And 1 is too many.
Yes, I agree.
For me is, I got to, so I have my GI Bill, that I can use. But, the thing I didn't understand was why can I use it for university, or a college or a community college, or a technical school, but I can't use it to go do what I want to do, and that's learn from, the people that have actually done it, not the people that are teaching it.
Right.
They haven't done it, very few of them have. So, why can't I use, that GI Bill or, those educational benefits that I earned in the military. Why can't I use those and apply those to, something such as Cardone University, which personally, I get more use out of that than anything I've learned in college. So,
damn, dude,
I think that could help a lot more veterans, especially those that are interested in being entrepreneurs.
I'm telling you, man, if Grant Cardone does not watch this and hear some of this stuff, man, this might be the best promotional material that he could ever. He couldn't spend $1 million and get this kind of freaking PR.
I'm definitely fighting it. I know it'll help a lot of people. I know there's a lot of people that it can help, and so I'm fighting it. I'm pushing it. Through my personal experiences, through my opinion, through my personal relationship, with with those individuals out there, that are able to make those changes.
The highest military dude in the freaking country.
I'm definitely fighting for it. Wow, can't say what'll happen, but I will definitely continue to fight for it. Until those benefits are able to be applied to things that I think will help veterans more so than going to college and feeling like Billy Madison. With all these.
Right. Right.
Quite a big dynamic going from people that jump out of airplanes and kicking doors for a living to going to school in a setting with people that still live at home, and there's anything wrong with that, but people that haven't really experienced anything very much in life. So
so what is hey, there's Lizzie Lou, she just shared it. Thank you for anybody who shared this out. I mean, thank you. I genuinely appreciate you sharing this out. So, hey, a lot of people, if you guys are not friends with Alex Hill, I'm going to go back and edit this afterwards so you can, I'll make sure I tag you in it. Using the Zoom thing, it wouldn't allow me to actually tag you. I wanted to tag Grant too, and I will. And I'm gonna tag Elena as well. But listen, like this kid right here, and I'm sorry I keep calling you a kid, man, but dude, you're such an inspiration. And what you said about what Cardone University, what the 10X Growth Conference, whatever, all of this, I don't even know how many pairs of Grant socks that I ordered a bunch of water bottles one time from them, and because I was ordering a bunch of stuff and all the time, and so they called me and said, hey, we ran out of water bottles, we're not getting any more, they quit making this brand or something, and
we ran out of those in Florida here too.
What's that?
We ran out of water bottles here in Florida too recently.
Well, this was quite a while ago, like a year or better. And they said, can we send you something in place of it? And I said, hey, there's Robert Stewart. Robert Stewart's on. And Leah Camp, thank you. Catherine Elizabeth just shared this. Thank you to everybody who shared. You guys freaking rock. So anyway, so I said, yeah, just send me whatever. And she's like, well, how about the socks? Do you like the socks? And I'm like, yeah, I have some of the socks. Send me some socks. I get 6 boxes of socks with 6 pairs in each box. I probably have more Grant Cardone socks than freaking Grant has. But I mean, and it's home. So anyway, I've been made fun of by, some people have said some things, but like, look, man, when somebody like you, who you're sitting here telling me that Grant Cardone and Cardone University and the 10X GrowthCon saved your life, that tells me that you were in a bad place. And as a result of following somebody who's a true leader like Grant, and somebody who puts out, I mean, just unbelievable content to help people. He helps veterans. He helps just regular people like me and everybody else. And dude, like that's unbelievable. It truly is unbelievable that it just blows me away. And I'm sure that when Grant sees this or hears about this and what you've said about him, he's gonna either A, reach out to you or B, just be blown away. So
both of those would be awesome.
So listen,
Grant, I'm ready to make a deal. If you do see this, Grant, I'm ready to make a deal.
What, to get him in the military? Yeah. Like, how cool would it be if you headed up getting the GI Bill to cover Cardone University? That'd be pretty awesome, man.
I mean, I think it's a win-win because it doesn't make sense that Cardone University, it's a fraction of what, these outrageous universities are charging you for, outdated, accurate, curriculum that, you're never going to use. And,
right.
And, like, you could go on Cardone University for literally like a fraction of the price. So it makes sense. It makes sense. It's a no-brainer.
Wow, dude. And you now I think you have a certain general's like personal cell phone number, don't you?
A few of them.
Dude, that's insane. That's crazy. So that kills me. So, dude, I think that if you haven't like really made an impact in people's lives that have watched this tonight, then there probably is no hope for them. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. There's always hope, man. But like, dude, you're a badass, man. Like you just said, and again, I know that when we were talking at the 10X Growth Conference, you were telling me about it. You were very unsure. I do know that. And it was because you'd been burnt in that last business. You told me about that, right? Mm-hmm. So you were incredibly unsure, but you took the information I shared a little bit with you there at the end of the conference. But then you took all that stuff you learned from Grant and everybody else at the conference, and you freaking have blown up, man. $70,000 in the last 3 months selling coconuts. Bro. I mean, come on, man.
It's crazy.
That's insane, man. And so if you can do it selling coconuts, what do you have to say to people out here what do you have to say to people out here that say that they just can't make it? They just can't get by. They can't do it.
I mean, go for it. I mean, I had a big fear of failure. You're going to fail. I've failed so many times. I mean, I'm sure you have too. Failure is part of the game, but just don't give up. Seriously, you will be successful if you do not give up. You're going to fail. Keep going, man.
Wow.
That's all there is to it. Just keep that mindset, stay positive. One thing I've noticed a lot too is the more I give to others, the more I get back. So like one thing that I've done since the beginning is, I've done this for the past 2 years, actually. Any of the events, I do a lot of mobile events all over Northwest Florida. Any event I'm at, any military, any law enforcement, anyone like that in uniform, I don't charge them a dime ever.
Wow.
And, so just giving back to those people, I've actually made some good connections through doing that, locally, as well, nationally. So just keep, give to other people, man, do right. Don't give up. I mean, you hear everybody say it sounds cliche, but seriously.
It's the truth.
They wouldn't be saying it if there wasn't a reason for it. If there wasn't any truth behind it, they wouldn't be saying it.
Yeah. I spent the first 35 years of my life looking for that magic bullet, man. Like, what's the...
And it never came, did it? Did it ever come?
Shit, no, man. No.
But you made that magic bullet. You become that magic bullet.
That's it, dude. You're right. That is it. And that's it. And you go out there and you shoot a hole right through a coconut, you drop a freaking straw in it, and you sell the son of a bitch, right? So
that sounds like a good marketing right there. I might go shoot some coconuts this weekend.
That's it. Justin Myers, there's a military guy right there. So, like, if you didn't see this story about my buddy Alex Hill, dude, you're incredible. I'm honored to call you a friend. I think you're an amazing young man, and dude, you've got a freaking future in front of you. And this is where, today, because of social media, because of the reach, man, today we have somebody said, where do we find the coconut stuff, brother? So hey, tell them where they can find you, man.
Yeah, we're on Facebook at Emerald Coast Coconuts. We are currently in Northwest Florida, servicing everywhere from Pensacola all the way out to Panama City, and we definitely have huge plans to expand that next year. So
Huge.
We'll over next year. Absolutely.
Huge. You're looking at a millionaire next. You'll be a millionaire by next year, dude. Like multi.
That's the plan.
You will be at 25 years old, man. Good for you, bro.
I'll be 26 in next week. So.
Oh, next week's your birthday.
Yeah, 2 weeks from now. So.
Hey, everybody, send Alex a coconut for his birthday. You got a warehouse filled with them, right? No,
I do. Yeah. A couple thousand square feet.
You're like, no, I'm good. I don't need any coconuts. So listen, man, is there anything else you'd like to tell? Sandy McNichol said, do you climb trees? LOL, just kidding. So is there anything else you'd like to share with anybody? You have any other additional?
I mean, anybody, I think you're going to go back and tag my Facebook, reach out to me, if there's anything to you, if you know somebody else that, this might help at all, please reach out to me. I'd love to connect with everybody. I love helping people. I have a bunch of awesome veteran resources that are free for veterans. Just reach out to me. I'll be more than willing to share those with anybody, push that out there. But yeah, so just definitely connect with me.
That's awesome, man.
Make things happen, to be part of things. So.
And I do know you travel and you go see these kids and you help these kids who've lost parents in the military, man, and you mentor these kids. And dude, I think that's amazing, because I would say that probably most people forget that about those kids,
Yeah, it sounds bad. I almost feel guilty at this point, because like the effect that has on me. Sometimes I walk away after all these events. I walk away hoping that I gave them at least half of what they did for me. What they gave me. Just seeing these kids, things they've been through, and how they're able to still carry on and still be strong and everything. It's truly inspiring. And so I get so much from it. I almost feel selfish sometimes. The amount of benefit I walk away from it. So I hope I give that to to some of those kids.
You've got an unbelievable heart. You're good. You're just such a good kid, man. I'm honored to call you a friend, man. I really am. And if there's anything, you already know, if there's anything I can ever do to help you, I'm a phone call away. And dude, I'm just honored to. I said to everybody, I said to Alex, I said, dude, listen, I said, hey, I'm going to start doing some live interviews, and I want you to be my debut interview, man. I want you to be the first one, but I'm not waiting until next Tuesday. Let's roll. I said, I don't even know how this thing works, but we're going to figure it out, man. Let's do it. So, hey, dude, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Selling coconuts, from an idea 6 months ago, an idea of selling coconuts. And you took what you learned at the 10X GrowthCon. You've taken, dude, you got General Dunford giving you freaking advice, man. So,
man, I almost feel, everything. There was so much packed into that 3 days, at GrowthCon, and I've only applied a small fraction of, of what I learned there. So I'm very excited to continue to apply more and more of that, and I know it's just going to continue to blow my business up. Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome, man.
It's so hard to apply all that. There's so much there, so much knowledge coming out there. So.
Hey, I wonder if everybody sees that sign up there in the corner behind you there. There are 7 days in a week, and Sunday isn't one of them.
Not at all.
I love that, man. I love that.
I got a little light box here if you guys can see that. Got some of
that. Nice, too. That's awesome.
10X. Got a 10X it.
That's it, dude. Well, bro, listen, thank you so much for jumping on here. I know you're a busy guy, and I appreciate you taking this time out of your evening, and I know you're in Florida, so lots of prayers going out to everybody that's still down there, man. Anybody that's still in Florida, God, if you can get out of there, get out. But lots of prayers and positive energy and thoughts going to all of you.
I do. If anybody's in South Florida needs to evacuate, I do have some room at the house, a couple spare bedrooms. So
there you go. There you go. All right, my brother. Hey, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. I'm going to be going live on these, doing some interviews here over the next. Well, it's going to be an ongoing thing. So I appreciate you you're my first one on here, bro.
Number one.
Appreciate it.
Number one, thank you. It was a privilege. It's a privilege and an honor to be here with you. So thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, man. You're welcome. Thank you for taking
this. Facebook Live. So
yeah, we're going to get you doing more of them. Thank you, guys. If you're just joining, if you're watching the replay, thank you for sharing this out. Thank you to everybody. You guys all rock. Yes, number one. And remember, one of Grant's books is, if you're not first, you're last, man. So, hey, appreciate you being on here, brother. You were number one interview on my new show. Appreciate you. I thank everybody for sharing. And Alex, I'll be talking to you soon, bro.
Thank you. I look forward to it, Ken. Thank you again.
We'll see you guys.